With the new Lumix S1Rii, there's a lot of different recording qualities, but also crop ratios. Don't worry, we have 4K 60 full frame. That's fine. But with the ProRes options, with the H.265, H.264 options, I wanted to show what the crop ratios actually are, and I'm gonna be a nerd and ask Chatgpt to give me precise crop ratios for this. So currently we are in Cinema 4K at 23 frames per second. One of my favorite features about Lumix cameras is if I go over into the menu and I go over to the first record option, image format 1, image area of video, I can hit that and I'm able to do full frame, I'm able to do Super 35 or APS-C, and I'm able to do pixel by pixel. And it also gives me a description. Full frame records video with the widest field of view according to the recording quality, cropping depending on recording quality. APS-C records video with field of view of an APS-C lens, Super 35, which is somewhere between 1.5 and 1.6. And then pixel to pixel records video with field of view at 1:1 pixel ratio according to rec quality. This means, so just to use round numbers, S1Rii, 8K sensor, 8,000 pixels. If I want to shoot in 4K, the pixel to pixel mode jumps to whatever the 4,000 pixels would look like on that sensor. Let's go back to full frame, and then just to show you, this is our Deadpool image. If I go over, this is what full frame looks like. If I go to APS-C, jumps in there, and then if I go to pixel and pixel, jumps in even more. We're just getting barely his torso. So that's the 4K, that's in 17:9. Go back to full frame. If we go up and let me get out of dynamic range expansion mode. Dynamic range expansion off. Now we can go into our other options. Let's do 4K 60 all eye. And I don't believe there's a crop here at all, full frame. We could jump to APS-C on here, or we could do, we could do pixel and pixel at 4K 60. I believe the 4K 120, let's try that next. And there's only one option for 4K 120. For 4K 120, it's gonna be a lot darker. Let me bring that back up. This does have a crop. And we could go to pixel and pixel mode on this in the 4K 120, Cinema 4K, so 4096, 20, or we can do full frame. And if I jump back to let's just go to Cinema 4K, we're kind of like right at the top of his head. And if I go back to Cinema 4K, we do get, what is that? Like a centimeter more. So there is some type of crop in 4K 120. So let's look at the open gate options. This is 8.1K, and we cannot change full frame, pixel to pixel, can't do anything there. But we can go down to the 7.2K. This is essentially, it seems like the 8.1K can't do 30 frames per second. Camera can't do that, so 7.2K is just a 30 frames per second version of that. If we jump to that, I can't really see a crop, but I'll have to check in post. And the 6.4K doesn't look like there's a crop as well. So let's now look at the ProRes options. That's something I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, and I've really been wanting to know if I want to shoot in ProRes RAW or ProRes, what are the crop factors and image circle. Okay, now we're in Apple ProRes. If I go over, I'm currently in Apple ProRes 5.8K, 24 frames per second, 422 HQ. It says full frame. I could jump to pixel and pixel on this. That's full frame, and it looks like we kind of still have that little, I should have put a marker or something here, but oh well. If I go over to let's see, this is something I was really interested in, ProRes RAW. So let's do ProRes RAW. That is, what's the difference between this? RAW HQ. Okay, let's do the 5.8K RAW HQ, which says pixel and pixel. and it looks similar to the other pixel and pixel crops. I'm gonna be really curious what the actual crop is. Chatgpt will show us somewhere around there what this actual crop is. But per the description of Lumix earlier, most likely it's going from 8,000 pixels to whatever the pixel and pixel of this is, 5,760 pixels. If we go down to 5.8K 422 HQ, that brings us back to full frame, and we can do full frame or APS-C. If we go down to, let's see, the 4x3 modes, let's do 4x3, and this is an APS-C crop. I can't do full frame in the 4x3 mode. APS-C and pixel is the same thing. If it had a pixel and pixel version, it wouldn't be able to punch, it wouldn't punch in anymore, it's already there. Let's do some 4K options. Let's do Cinema 4K, 24 frames per second, 422 HQ. So we have pixel and pixel, we have APS-C, and we have full frame for the Apple ProRes 422 HQ in Cinema 4K. And it does not look like we have a ProRes RAW version. We do have 60 frames per second, which is nice. No ProRes RAW for 4K. Looks like the only ProRes RAW is that 5.8K. Something I'm also happy about is we have FHD 1080p on my S1H when doing ProRes RAW to the Atomos. You were never able to do like an HD version. Can't do RAW, but it's nice that you can do ProRes, like high data rate stuff, in HD. Say you want to do a long recording take, you have high data rate, quality of that video is going to be really nice. So, and we do have 120 FHD. I'm curious if that has a crop. So let's do full frame or full HD, 1920 by 1080p, 16 by 9, 120 frames per second. This might have a little crop. Our head looks different from where our guy is. Then we have APS-C and we have pixel to pixel. Whoa, the pixel to pixel is, yeah, because we're going from 8,000 to pixel to pixel, which has jumped to 1920. But the full frame here on the 120 looks very similar to the 4K 120, which is normal. There is no 4K. There's no 4K 120 in ProRes. Just the HD. And then what about if we jump to the, yeah, I think we have a little bit more headroom there. FHD 120 ProRes, a little bit of crop. And then full HD normal. Yeah, the FHD 60 frames per second looks like it has a little bit of a crop. So those are the crop formats and recording qualities that you can do. A little more detailed video in the Lumix S1Rii Mark II. And I'll do some type of like, yeah, I'll give you something here that shows you what those actually are. If you thought this was helpful, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions about these, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm going to try and do some more research on what all these are. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace.